How we doing? How we doing? This is Destination Denver, Colorado, and you're thinking about moving to Denver in 2024, but you're not quite sure what neighborhood is for you. I'm gonna cover the 7 hottest neighborhoods in Denver, Colorado that you must consider moving to in 2024, and we're starting right now. All right, this is Destination Denver, Colorado. I'm your host, Jimmy Everson, listener. If you're interested in learning all the ins and outs, pros and cons to moving to or around the Denver metro area, then this is the channel for you. So that subscribe button and notification icon you see on your screen, make sure you click on that as I'm dropping new videos for you each and every week. And as much as I try to be a little creative and informative here on camera, I'm also a licensed mortgage broker covering the entire state of Colorado and team with some of the Denver metro area's most talented realtors. And we're helping people move here each and every day. So the number and email you see on your screen, know that I am always the person, answer your phone calls, answer your texts, answer your emails. There, when and if you need me. Now that we're done with that fun-filled stuff, let's get to what we're here for, and that is the 7 hottest Denver neighborhoods that you must consider moving to in 2024. Okay, so maybe must is a tad strong. We'll say should. I mean, Denver's pretty awesome. But today we're going to talk about these 7 communities and really more of a conversation. I'll talk to you about the things that I enjoy, the people I deal with on a daily basis enjoy. And so when you're talking about hot neighborhoods in Denver and some of the most popular, you can't really have a conversation without starting with Cherry Creek. Cherry Creek is located basically east of downtown Denver. And it is, of all the communities in Denver, probably our most walkable community. It's filled with all of the shops, restaurants, bars, all of the things you want to do. And it's also home to a lot of office buildings. So a lot of real estate offices, a lot of lending offices, but just about any type of company you could imagine, tech, finance, etc., is going to be home to Cherry Creek. It's really an economic hub of Denver. Now, because of that, certainly you're talking about one of the more expensive communities in the Denver metro. And I'll be real with you, in this video, I didn't really pick one that isn't on the expensive side. Now, that's not to say that there are many communities in the Denver metro that I would call cheap, but I certainly didn't choose any cheap ones. So got to be real about that. Now, with Cherry Creek, because of how desired it is, you've got a lot of moving pieces here. One, it's going to be one of your busier communities because of how walkable it is, and especially during the day from around 8:30 a.m. until about 4 or 5 o'clock going into the evening or late afternoon. It's busy. There's people walking, there's people out and about, there are things happening. So, if that is where you're going to be around, that's something you need to be prepared for. Now, Cherry Creek is going to be very popular when it comes to schools. It's going to be very popular when it comes to amenities. Obviously, we've talked about that. They've got a big Cherry Creek Mall right there. They've got all the shopping. It's a shopping, bonanza, if you will. And then with that restaurants, a lot of business meetings will happen there. Kind of one of the knocks of Cherry Creek, along with obviously the affordability, is the fact that it gets quiet kind of early, and that may matter to some, may not matter to others. I'm an old man, so the fact that a town starts to get quiet around 8, 9 o'clock at night, you kids quiet it down, really doesn't bug me, but that's probably the only knock on Cherry Creek. Now, as far as living situations, whether you're renting, buying, lots of condos, lots of townhomes, certainly some detached homes and some of the nicer homes that you will see anywhere. Again, price point, whether you are buying or renting, is going to be on the higher end. Cherry Creek is going to be premium to live in Denver metro, but whether you live there or not, it's certainly going to be a neighborhood that you might want to check out. Second up, and really my favorite neighborhood in all of Denver, and that is the Highland or the Highlands. Some people throw an S on it. Now you'll have the Highlands kind of comes in 2 sections, technically 3. Now they call it low-high. You got lower Highlands, you got Highlands, you got all these different neighborhoods. So the Highlands stretches essentially from I-25 moving west, still part of Denver, all the way over to Sheridan on its western side. And that's where you'll have West Highlands, will be between Federal and Sheridan as you're moving west. The Highlands, again, extremely walkable, especially a couple of their areas. Again, that lower Highland, low-high area, lots of bars, lots of things to do down there. And then as you get West Highlands, that's where you're gonna run into areas like 32nd and Lowell, where again, it's this cross section where you've got different shops, restaurants, wineries, etc. Sweet Cow, you gotta check out one of the best ice cream joints ever. Actually, the Highlands, I'm just going to divert because I love ice cream. It's home to Little Man and Sweet Cow. So you've got two of the best ice cream shops in Denver. And the Highlands to me is kind of the perfect blend between having the urban living style and you're really close to Denver. And again, you have that walkability in the shops, but yet you still have a suburb feel to it. And if you can find the right property for you, again, whether renting or buying, every property type imaginable, the Highlands is really a great community. As I say, it's my personal favorite. I've never lived in the Highlands. I've lived in Sloan's Lake, very nearby. We'll talk about that. But overall, great community. And I will say you must check out the Highlands. And while I'd call this number 3, I do tend to put these together, and I mentioned it, Sloan's Lake. So Sloan's Lake is located, again, just west of Denver. It is still part of Denver. It's just west of downtown Denver. Sloan's Lake being really the only body of water really close to the city. You'll see people out on paddle boards. It does have you can get a permit to bring a small motor. You know, you'll see some people, you're not jet skiing out there, but you'll see people occasionally pulling a water skier. But I've heard that's pretty pricey. Don't hold me that, but they want to limit how many boats are out on the water. You'll need a permit to go out and paddleboard as well. But Sloan's Lake, really great community. And when you talk about Highlands, I think you have the Highlands, you have Sloan's Lake, and then right across Sheridan, you have another community called Edgewater. And all three of these communities are kind of interconnected. If you live in one, it's not abnormal. It's pretty routine that you're spending time in each of them. So in my years in Sloan's Lake, I spent a ton of time in Edgewater because there's a lot of walkability and a lot of bars and things to do there. And then obviously getting over to the Highlands. But Sloan's Lake will tie into the Highlands as one of the best neighborhoods that people are looking at now, really becoming more and more popular. And it has a lot in common because of the park, because of the water, with the third, and I know I've said 3 neighborhoods already, but technically a third that I'll look at, and that is Wash Park. So Wash Park is kind of central Denver. Again, not far from downtown, central, a little south of the city itself. And as I mentioned, Sloan's Lake kind of has some resemblance to it, or is kind of going in that direction. But Wash Park is among the most desirable suburban communities that you are going to find anywhere in Denver. Washington Park, officially, you'll know if people are local because everyone here calls it Wash Park, and you'll see it. If you want to talk about one of the most pleasantly busy areas in all of Denver, go to Wash Park on a weekend, Saturday, Sunday, when the sun's out, it's pretty out, and I mean, people are everywhere. They're playing volleyball, they're walking around the track, they're out on the water, because Wash Park has a couple lakes there. It has a pavilion, you'll see weddings there. We had our baby shower there, just all sorts of things going on. And because of that, you've got this really great community built around it. You've got technically East and West Wash Park. East tends to be more on the more expensive side. But within Wash Park, you have obviously that park. That's the central aspect of it and one of the more desirable areas. And then the housing around it, again, you'll see anything from homes that are, up to, I should say, just over $1 million. And then you'll have homes that are several million. You'll see homes that have been around for, decades and decades, and you'll see a lot of scrapes and new builds. You see a lot of remodels. So a lot of different home aspects there, or home options, I should say. And then also nearby to Wash Park, you've got, some decent walkability, restaurants, cafes, things of that nature. I don't necessarily think of Wash Park, it doesn't jump off the board to me as being the most walkable as far as getting to places. There's certainly some restaurants and shops nearby, you're not too far, but it's the park that really brings people in. I mean, that's the hub of the entire community. And you have to check out Wash Park, which is one of my favorite restaurants. When I say walkability, don't get me wrong, Wash Park has plenty of restaurants and shops and things to get to nearby, just might not have the same walkability that, say, a Highlands would have. Changing it up a little bit and actually going kind of northeast Denver, we go out to Central Park. Formerly named Stapleton, renamed Central Park. In recent years, Stapleton was the name of the old Denver airport before Denver International Airport was opened in the 90s. And Central Park has become a very popular suburb of Denver. Again, close enough shot to get into the city within 20, 30 minutes, maybe even less. If there's no traffic, you probably get from Central Park down to the city in about 15, 20 minutes. There's just very rarely not traffic. But Central Park has a ton of new communities, really well thought out, with a lot of parks, a lot of interconnected trails, playgrounds for the kids. And so you really started to see Central Park build momentum in the early 2000s there, and continuing to grow to this day. And so within Central Park, you have Stanley Marketplace is nearby. You have a lot of community centers they've built there. So a lot going on, a lot of amenities. And then for those of you who are thinking about being near the airport, you're really close in that aspect. So Central Park has, of the neighborhoods I've talked about, the quickest access to get to the airport. So our next couple neighborhoods are getting back into the city, and actually they are really in the heart of downtown or right on the outstretches. First up, we have 5 Points, oftenly called RiNo or River North, but 5 Points, quintessential Denver neighborhood, obviously river north of Denver. So 5 Points, really popular for its art district. You have Larimer, which is a strip of road that has a ton of bars and restaurants and different things to do. And 5 Points will have a lot of different options as far as living. It's got some great apartments, townhomes, detached homes. It's got places that have been around for decades. And it also has a lot of newer construction or a lot of newer remodeled areas. 5 Points will be near the top for people who really want nightlife. And that's not to say that other things aren't important to them, but if I'm going to compare the nightlife of Wash Park or Cherry Creek to the nightlife of 5 Points, Cherry Creek and Wash Park, pretty quiet in that sense. So that's really where people want to get out and about. They want to experience things. They really enjoy it. Of all the communities and all the neighborhoods in Denver that I tend to get some of the most positive responses from people moving out of state or people moving from different parts of Denver to the city, 5 Points is near the top of that list. I have a lot of people who then reach out to me and say, hey, I'm tired of renting here, now I want to buy here. So definitely an area to check out. Playing off of that and still in the heart of the city is Cap Hill, obviously close to the Capitol. They're just off of Colfax and Lincoln, those major cross streets there. So Cap Hill is going to have a lot of homes chopped into apartments. Not to say that it is a bad place for buyers of homes by any means. I have a lot of people who buy homes, a lot of condos there. But you'll have a ton of renters in that community. A lot of people that are exploring Denver, again, that really like to be in the heart of things. So you're close to your coffee shops and your restaurants and things to do. You're close to Denver's city parks that are really cool. You have quick access to all of those. Cheeseman, Congress are nearby. So a lot of different areas to check out. Within Cap Hill, you're going to see a lot of detached homes. You're going to see a lot of these old mansion-style homes. During Denver actually had a silver rush to go along with its gold rush, and that's when Cap Hill was really built. So as you see these homes, they appear to be, and they are, pretty big in scale, especially for when they were built. A lot of those have been, chopped to where you'll have 2, 3, maybe even 4 apartments in some of them. So Cap Hill has long been one of the more popular neighborhoods and really one of those areas that, for people who want city living, they want to explore. I will mention very briefly, across from Cap Hill, across from Colfax is an area of town called Uptown. Again, with a lot of walkability, different stretches of roads. And similar to when I said the Highlands and Sloan's Lake tend to kind of trade along with Edgewater, same thing I feel with Cap Hill, that you'll see Uptown and Cap Hill kind of interchangeable. People, you're across Colfax from each other. So amenities in one will be enjoyed by amenities of the other. And then last up, we can't talk about Denver and hot neighborhoods without talking about Park Hill. So you have South Park Hill, North Park Hill. South Park Hill, closer to the city, closer to your parks, closer to the zoo, closer to the Nature and Science Museum. So South Park Hill will tend to be more desirable because of, again, it's closer. But North Park Hill, Park Hill in general, is a very desired neighborhood. Really known for how big the lot sizes are. How this is one of Denver's most historic neighborhoods. Started to be built in the early 1900s. It was kind of founded in the late 1800s. But so you have homes that have been around forever. Now you certainly have some newer construction throughout the years. Some homes knocked down, rebuilt, remodeled, things of that nature. Some of the most walkable stretches of again town. And Park Hill really has that beautiful blend, a little slower, I feel, a little slower tone than the Highlands do, but still has that urban, suburban feel to it. And you'll see the history of Park Hill. You'll see communities where, let's be real, obviously the wealthier people that lived in Denver as Park Hill was being built, you'll see kind of their neighborhoods. And then you'll see the communities where it was probably more blue collar, where the lot sizes are smaller, where the houses were smaller, where sidewalks weren't as wide or non-existent at all. You see that history within Park Hill. Within that, you see a lot of people that desire to be in Park Hill, and there are certain sections of Park Hill where it's very rare to see homes come up for sale. And I do see more of an ownership quality to rent, but that's not to say that you can't rent or own within Park Hill. So overall, when I was looking at some of the, again, hottest communities in Denver, I was really trying to balance the idea of, do you want some nightlife? Do you want subtle? Do you want suburb? Do you want urban? All of these communities, if you're looking for schools, tend to have some great school options. Certainly Cherry Creek, Park Hill we're gonna rate near the top of that, Wash Park as well. But all of them, great histories, great amenities, your restaurants, your coffee shops, all of those things. And I can genuinely say, I'd live in all 7. Granted, I don't know if Cherry Creek would probably drive me nuts. Probably a little too busy during the day. That'd probably get old for me. But also, if I lived in Cherry Creek, that would mean I probably wasn't doing the same hustle and bustle that some people have. I don't know, that could be inaccurate. Either way, this is a great opportunity for us to have a conversation. That was, 8 communities, including Sloan's Lake. And I'd love to hear which ones you think I missed. That's a perfect opportunity. Hit me up. The number, email, you see on your screen, know that I am always the person. Answer your phone calls, answer your texts, answer your emails. There, when and if you need me. This is Destination Denver, Colorado. I am your host, Jimmy Everett. That was 7, technically 8 of the hottest Denver neighborhoods that you must consider when moving to Denver in 2024. And when you do, till I see you next time, peace.